My name is Priya Dharshini. I come from Coimbatore district of Tamil Nadu. I'm not very good with Hindi, so please bear with my English. And I come from Coimbatore. I had secured All India IT second rank in the Forest Service exam in 2023 this year. So my journey in UPSC is quite very long one, because I started my preparation in the year 2015 and it has somehow ended in 2024. So this being my last attempt in my forest service, which I have been also trying since the year 2015, most of the times I felt prelims was the problem for me. Whenever I clear prelims, I was able to go till the interview in my civil service exam. That is in the year 2016, 17 and 20. I was able to give my civil service interview. But unfortunately, all these years, since 2015, I was not able to clear my forest service. So in the last attempt, I was only able to clear it with my first mains in the forest and first interview in 2023. So about my mistakes, I would first tell about prelims. When we are going for the preparation inside the prelims, or when you're starting with any subject, fear that it will be very difficult, that you will not be able to clear this exam. You should always have a positive mindset. You can simply just start with the NCERT, and I cannot emphasize enough about the newspaper reading. Hindu newspaper, which I follow. You can follow any one newspaper whichever you want, but please be updated with the current affairs. First main thing to be very well versed with the current affairs is newspaper. No other material can match the newspaper. And secondly, in prelims, you have to follow the basic books. You have the basic 5 subjects in prelims, if you can recollect. And just now the prelims got over, so I was also seeing some questions in the latest prelims paper. I will first tell about the subjects which you have to focus basically. Your basics has to be very strong when you are preparing for the prelims. First being history, wherein we have the ancient, medieval and modern history. So nowadays I can see that since I've been traveling for quite some time inside UPSC prelims and mains, previously the questions were little direct. Again, from 2018 till 2022 or 23 itself, the questions were little much tilted. It was not as conventional paper. But again, if you see in 2024, the recent prelims, there was no much questions from modern India. But you cannot expect that. You might get the questions from ancient and medieval in a deeper manner. So I think you have to be well prepared with history. Going for the basic materials, for NCERT, for ancient and medieval, NCERT is the best source. There is no other source that you have to go and read it thoroughly. So be well versed with the NCERTs. And speaking about the modern India, like modern history, you can go with Spectrum, which is one very good source, which I also follow. Try to restrict your sources as much as possible. This exam, there will be n number of sources which you can read, but you have to restrict all the extra material, because only whatever you're reading from one material, if you revise it multiple times, you'll be able to get through the prelims or mains or even interview. So next is the geography. So speaking about geography, basically you should follow 11th and 12th NCERT. These are the very important books wherein you will get questions directly in the prelims exam, and also you'll be able to manage the mains exam if you study from 11th and 12th geography. But alongside, you should also take the support of Goching Leong book. So again, this is a very simple material. If you read the 6th standard to 10th standard again for geography, you will be in a better position to handle environment plus geography question. Yeah, geography, I forgot to tell about atlas. Atlas is one very important thing which we will usually miss out. If you see the prelims, always there are questions which are asked from atlas. That is, we saw last year there were many questions from Africa, African continent in the map, and this year also. So every year UPSC is trying to check whether you're very good with the map. They had asked some boundary, I think, this year. So Kazakhstan and Russia, that was the answer for that question, which is the longest boundary. So you should always be thorough with the map so that you can be sure that you're going to get some extra marks. Like at least you will be in an edge of 3 to 4 questions if you are very thorough with the map, India and the world. So next, going on to environment, I followed Shankar Academy's environment book. You can basically follow that, or else whichever material you have for environment, just stick on to one material for the basics. And when you're going for the current affairs, you can see PT 365, which I followed. Again, it depends upon you. If you're following some other current material for all the subjects, you can go along with that. Economy and polity are the two subjects which are very important for prelims. Again, economy is some subject wherein if you have the basic understanding, you don't have to again go and study economics. Once if you're done with economics concept, the basic macroeconomy, you can easily tune yourself to the questions. I usually follow the book called Indian Economy by Shankar Ganesh, which is a very simple book that is more than enough for your prelims. I mean, it is more than enough for all your preparation. You don't have to stress yourself with lot of materials again. Only with the basic understanding, if you see the prelims question paper, you might find that lots of questions are repeated, the areas are repeated. So you have to only focus on those areas with a good understanding about the basic concept. You don't have to do a PhD in economy, so keep yourself with a simple material. Next, going for the polity, again Lakshmikant is one holy book for polity. You don't have to go beyond the Lakshmikant for polity. But also while reading Lakshmikant, you have to be very selective in reading, because I had committed this mistake in the prelims attempts which I did not clear. As I told you already, whenever I cleared, I was able to go till mains and interview. Rest two prelims I was not able to clear, because I will be having very less time after the interview. For example, in 2020, I had very less time. Again, I had to focus only on the important stuff in polity. But what I did was I started reading the whole book, so the time will go away. You will not be in a position to complete even polity because you will have very less time. For aspirants who are going for interview, not able to clear, they have to be smartly preparing again for the prelims. And having said about this, next I'll speak about the science and technology. Again, for science and tech, you don't have to mug up too many facts and everything, just basic science. But nowadays UPSC has found out that students are going for all the above options in prelims. So what they have done is they have smartly tried to put some options which you have to eliminate properly in the exam. Focus more on biotechnology when you're going for science and technology. And because lots of questions are being asked from biotechnology. Next is your other parts of science and technology, like space, defense, everything. Just know the basics. By knowing the basics along with the PT 365 or any current affairs material, you will be able to solve the questions in the exam hall. And these are the things about the prelims. And also the NCERT for history is very important. The new NCERTs and old NCERT, especially the new, if you can see the snippets and all those small things in italics, especially when it is given in the book, you will be in a better position to know the meaning of certain words which is being asked in the, it will directly be reflected in your prelims paper. After this, yes, so current affairs, you know about society, sorry. I'm again taking the reference as PT 365. If you take society, you can just go with the basic fact, like what is malnourishment rate of India, what is the literacy rate. Having some basic understanding with these facts will help you also prepare for your mains exam. So next is, I'll go on to the main strategy. So since I had also given my mains in civil service and I was able to clear, I'll give a very small glimpse about GS so that it will also help in the GK paper of forestry. For students who are appearing for civil service exam, so your importance with newspaper cannot be emphasized more again. GS2 and GS3, very important source is the newspaper. And when you're going for GS3, you have to read the economic survey of that year. These things are the basics. So whatever things you're seeing in the newspaper, take a very small notes about from the newspaper about the article which is correlated with the syllabus. So while making notes, firstly you have to know the syllabus thoroughly, so that you will be in a position to make notes as per the syllabus and not read everything, each and everything, and you don't have to copy paste everything from the newspaper. For GS 2 and 3, your dynamic part comes from the newspaper. There are lots of materials in the market for mains answers, but always if you are fixed with your own notes, at least a little of your notes from newspaper, it will help you to differentiate your answers from the other people. So have that. And in GS1, you will be remembering many facts which you are reading from prelims. So you can, because you are reading geography and history, most of the questions will be reflected here. And talking about society, again PT 365 will be helpful along with the newspaper reading. And okay, I will elaborate about forestry and geology, which are two of my optional subjects. The reason why I took forestry is because forestry is the paper which is directly applicable to the forest exam, that is Indian Forest Service. The paper is also simple. For me, I felt it was simple considering the overlap it has with the environment and also the other subjects like soil and ecology, tribals. I had my anthropology optional, so it was very synonymous with certain topics with tribal. And saying about forestry, okay, before that, how to choose the optional, you have to first see the cost benefit analysis. If you have been very good with, or if your graduation is in zoology or botany, I would suggest you have to take that as your optional subject, because you will already be having the notes ready with you. If suppose you're taking forestry and like in my case geology, why I had gone for geology is the reason being I was having geography as my optional in civil service exam in my first 3 attempts. So it was very familiar for me, especially if we take general geology and geomorphology. So these were very familiar. Geology will have a direct application in forestry also, because based on the soil and the rock system only, the vegetation of the region will be decided. And also geology is one interesting subject with you can easily complete the subject, and you have to just mug up a lot of stuff, not basically mugging up, but remember the facts, because both the optional you will have lot of factual details given. How many ever times you're going to revise the optional, you will be getting a very good score in both. So elaborating upon the forestry optional, very important thing for you to score good in the forestry and geology is note making. For me, since I was not very good with Hindi, I was not able to get the catch with hornbill classes, which many of my friends were listening to. So I had to self-prepare all the forestry from the hornbill material. There is also one more channel in YouTube, I think Bairam Singh sir, who has given a very good glimpse upon silviculture techniques. You can go and see that along with the diagrams and many pictures he has given. So forestry, you have to make notes of each and every specific things mentioned in the syllabus. If you are making your own notes, you will be in a better position to write specific examples. And the main crux of getting marks in forestry first paper is you should remember the tree species name, which is very important. That is scientific name. Small things like underlining the species in italic, you have to write it in italics, or else you should underline it. So these things matters a lot in forestry. And most of the time, if you are taking silviculture, when you are attending the answer, since it is a technical answer, it will fetch you a lot of marks instead of going for agroforestry, tribal, or even forest soil from the first paper I am saying. And mangrove and desert is one specific topic which will definitely be there in paper. You should be very nicely prepared. Another trick of getting really good mark in forestry is by using lots of color pencils and color pens, because you should make the evaluator's job easy. So you have to use lots of color pens, and I will take up all the doubts after the session. I will talk about the English language also. Okay, so yeah, continuing with this. So silviculture system and mangrove, these are very important in the first paper. So going with second paper is a very, you have the technical part of forest management, working plan, forest measuring and the survey. So here also, see, in forestry paper, even in the geology paper, whichever is the technical part, if you attend 2 questions, compulsory questions, choice based questions from the technical part of the choice, you will score more, because it shows that you're very strong with the technical part rather than going for generic part like environment or agroforestry and even wildlife conservation and all that. But you should also be thorough with the species name, because this time in the question paper there was resin, which is a resin and which is a gum. You have to give 2 examples of each. So you should not neglect the other part. Always try to stick on to the technical part, which will fetch you a better mark. Okay, so said about forestry. Now let me go to geology. In geology, same things will apply. As I told, technical part you should give importance. There are certain places in geology where you can use a lot of diagrams. First thing is paleontology, even the stratigraphy. Stratigraphy will have lots of fact. It will be a little difficult when you're reading, but eventually when you're reading it again and again, you will be having the facts, everything in your head. Easily you can dump it in the exam. So revision is the key for both the optional. That is very, very important. And since I had taken coaching for geology from Planet Geology, the comprehensive course, the reason being, there are some topics like structural geology, mineralogy, igneous and metamorphic petrology, and even these are the main things which you will not easily understand by reading. So I would suggest, if there is any support system or any class, you should also make your own notes. What I did was, in the 3 to 4 months which I had, because I did not give civil service this time. Being the last attempt, I was only giving my forest service. I had taken the civil service attempt and I've kept it. So what you have to do is, for people who are appearing only for forest service, you have a very sufficient time period, because you'll be having a lot of time, like nearly 4 months. You can start making your own notes by seeing the video. I had made my notes by seeing the video, not skipping anything, because it is a very huge, lots of factual details are there in geology. And even in the forestry, if you're able to make notes, it's good. But when you see hornbill material, the material itself will be like notes only. And you'll also have previous year questions in the hornbill in that book. So it is easy for you to refer to the question and then see the answer. They have also given it in the question answer format, which is even more easy. So this is about forestry and geology. Again, I'm emphasizing this fact. Once you're creating your notes, make a micro notes out of it, maybe before 15 days or 20 days before the exam, so that you will be able to revise everything fast. Having a very bulk notes, it's not easy to revise before the exam, because geology and forestry, you will be having it in a very short time. You will be having only 1 day holiday for forestry, like most probably I had it this year. You will not be in a position to read everything. If you have a concise notes, again and again you can keep on revising the notes. So this is about the optional. About mains answer writing, I will say certain glimpses. I will throw some light on that. Always make your answer multi-dimensional. How much ever diagrams or flow charts or how many ever color pens you're using, I would have used at least, I would have drawn minimum 70 to 80 diagrams in the paper. If you're giving lots of diagrams, it shows that you are understanding well. A person cannot give a diagram before having a good understanding about the question. And always believe this, you have to make the job of the paper corrector or invigilate, the correction person who is doing the correction, you should make their job very easy in order to get lots of marks. Always put all your diagrams into the box. Carry scale and pencil. These things are very trivial, but it will matter a lot when you're giving the mains, especially for technical subjects like forestry and geology. I would also suggest you to do the same for GK paper also. And yes, coming to, if you do not know any answer in the mains paper, do not leave that question. Kindly please attend something or the other you'll be knowing after reading for 3 to 4 months in that optional, because if you are getting 1 mark also, this is a huge competition. You'll be able to go inside easily. So please do not leave any answer, and try to give something from it. Previous year questions, I cannot emphasize more upon this. From all the 3 stages, prelims, mains, and even the interview, I'll tell you why. Prelims is, again, whenever I did not clear my prelims, it is mainly because I did not see the previous year question paper. Always I was believing that I have to read everything and then give the prelims. But prelims will not work that way. UPSC is having a certain trend which it is always following. If you are able to catch the trend of the previous year question paper, you will be clearing prelims. Same applies for the mains. See, in GK paper, I will elaborate upon that. So, in GK, you will have 6 themes broadly when you are giving the mains for GK in Forest Service exam. You have polity, history, geography, science and technology. I think 2 more things are there, environment related and some general fact based question. What is the difference mainly between the civil service GS paper and the GK paper here is, firstly, the tangible difference is you have to answer 24 questions in 3 hours, which is actually very difficult, but if you practice, it is easy. As soon as you get the paper, you should start writing, and completing the paper in GK is at most important. Whoever is completing it, they'll be in a better position. I got 125 marks in GK only because I attended all the questions, and one more important reason being, if there is a scope for any diagram in GK paper, please draw diagram. Please use the color pens there also, because this is again IFS exam. This is a little different from civil service. You have to make your paper out of so many papers different, means you have to give some extra effort, and always take pencils to draw the diagrams. So make your presentation very easy, complete the paper. These are the 2 important things for GK paper. Then again, previous year question paper, how it helped me in GK is not only the forestry and geology, the PYQ, if you see in polity, there will be a question from fundamental right, how it is affecting the structure of Indian polity or democracy. So you will be always having that revision in your head. You can easily write it or implement it in the exam hall. So please see previous year question papers. You will have the same kind of trend as I told you in prelims. For mains also, from history also, you will have some themes. For example, Chola Empire is always asked, Gupta Empire is always asked, Buddhism is always asked. When something you know that it is going to be asked, you should be very thorough with the facts which you are going to give for the GK paper. So having said about GK, in science and technology, there will be at least 2 to 3 questions, or totally out of 24 questions, you will not be able to answer. Please do not leave that question. Write whatever you know about it. You shouldn't write something which is not relevant to the answer. You will be knowing something because you are preparing for so many days. So please at least fill it 1 page so that you will get some marks for that. So yes, the themes I was telling, the previous year questions are repeating. So this is about the mains, and about the English. English paper is one very, very important paper. See, the English paper, I got 150, but I was expecting more marks in English. Because I did not concentrate, I left it little free. I did not focus much on the grammar part. What you have to do for English is, please practice 2 things religiously. First is the essay, which is for 100 marks. I'll just say the split up very fast. For geology, you have 2 papers, right? It is 200, 200 each. And even for forestry, it is 200 for paper 1 and 200 for paper 2. But if you are coming for GK and GS, you have 300 marks for GK, 300 marks for English, which means you have to try getting lots of marks in these papers. They have lots of potential to push you into the interview stage and even into the service. English, why I'm saying essay is important is because 100 marks means it is a bulk of marks, so you can easily get it. Do not go directly into the exam hall without preparing for essay. You can again see the previous year question paper for English. Always there will be some theme related with the biodiversity or climate change or even education. So if you're able to catch that the topic, you will be able to prepare from that. Have a prepared introduction, have a prepared conclusion for these themes. And when you're going inside, this is a English paper which is not a qualifying paper. They are counting this for your rank. So the language is important. Try to minimize your grammatical mistakes. You can always do this easily. You can take help of some professors who are near your stay place, maybe college professors, to correct your essay paper, or you have even report writing, essay writing. Always there is a scope of improvement, because English is some subject which we have studied long back. We would have been talking, but it is difficult for us to carry that language into the paper without any grammatical mistakes. So please concentrate more on the interview part. The English part. I'll come to the interview next. So English, then after speaking about essay, another important area is grammar. 50 marks you can easily get in grammar, 50 out of 50. Take any book which is available in the market. I think Tata McGraw-Hill is also important. I wouldn't say the source specifically because I did not refer to a specific source in English. You can find it from the internet only. Whichever is there with basic English, you can go with that source. So English is very important. Please focus on that. Again, put your presentation very neatly in English. I'll come to the questions now after some time. Let me complete my interview also. So going to the interview stage, after the mains, this time I was expecting the interview because I basically completed the paper. In civil service also, if you're towards answering the answers to the question without blabbering anything, you will be clearing the mains. The same thing happened here also. I was waiting for the interview, and in the interview stage, be it civil service or in the forest service interview, you have to be very honest. One thing which is very important to make you score extra. I had secured 215 marks in interview this time. In my previous attempts in civil service, I was not able to secure so much. I feel very important change which I had made is I was not giving everything. Like I hid certain. I had not given certain facts. For example, I was working as a mentor in an institute in 2019 to 22. I did not say that in interview. I did not give it in my DAF. Your DAF preparation is very important and very, very crucial. Keep your DAF as simple as possible. You should not put everything. You should not make the board show that you're doing everything around the world. You should just show them which one you're really honest, which you're really good at. So this will put an impact that you're a very honest person. So whichever you're comfortable, you can fill it in the DAF. Once you put something in your detailed application form, that is the DAF, you should be preparing it 360 degrees. For example, I had my hobby as turtle walk, conservation of olive ridley turtle. So in my interview, the chairperson asked me questions on turtle. What is the difference between the tortoise and turtle, and which is having longevity, whose longevity is more? When you're asked such question, if you are putting something in your area of interest, naturally it should show up that you are really interested in that. You are going deep inside, gaining the information, lots of fact about it. So when you're talking only, they can easily find it out whether you're lying or not. So be very honest in the interview, and make the process very simple. UPSC interview is something which will not trigger you, and they'll not really put you under stress. They'll make you very comfortable. You should come up with the best answers. In fact, one of the questions which I had faced is, they had asked me in middle of the interview, chairperson asked me, how do you assess yourself in this interview? Because you've already been into civil service interview, why did you lose and how do you assess yourself? These are the questions which we cannot really answer at that moment. So you have to maintain your cool and calm, and you have to give simple answers and very specific answers. You should not beat around the bush. Some other questions, since it is forest service interview, I had questions about what is the use of eucalyptus, why should we even grow it in certain areas. Again, see, you have to take a balance. Eucalyptus is a tree which will take up lot of water, but at the same time it is having lots of economical uses. It is used in the pulp industry. So what they are seeing is whether you're taking the balanced stand. Instead of only talking about the negative aspect, it is taking lots of water. So you can find whether the area's aquifer is good. You can promote it in certain places because it is a plantation crop. So these are the traits which they are checking in the interview. And again, I had one more question regarding the agroforestry. Lots of industries today are dependent upon forest basically. So how we are going to sustain in the future. So here the main answer should be the agroforestry, because in agroforestry practices we are combining the agriculture and forestry, which is also yielding some income to the farmers, which is also helping the indigenous communities. It is helping the industries meet their wood based resource demands. It is helping the economy run. So you should see it in a holistic perspective. This is how my interview went. And about the dress code for the interview, you should have a very formal dress code, sober colored sari, so this will be looking fine. You should not go too much gaudy. And yeah, as I told about the DAF is very important. Please prepare the DAF after nicely discussing with some mentor of whoever you're nearby, because whatever information you're putting in the DAF, you can expect any question in any angle from the DAF. You have to go for 3 to 4 layers of questioning. Like first you have to prepare why, what. After that, if you're putting something in the DAF, after that you should also speak about how and other aspects of whichever information you're giving. So this is the difference in interview experience. Next is speaking generally about Indian Forest Service. So yeah, the students who are preparing only for Forest Service exam, I will suggest you concentrate more on prelims. If you are first time appearing for this exam, you should first get familiar with the prelims, how it is being asked in the UPSC. After that only you should worry about mains. Initially, you don't have to worry too much about mains, because we've all been writing answers from our school. It will not be very difficult to write answers once you're into that practice. But clearing prelims, it is again, I would not say it is difficult. You should know the tactic how to clear prelims. For that, very important is you should always be updated with current affairs, and then previous year questions. I cannot emphasize more upon previous year questions because it is one mistake which I had done. So please see the PYQs properly for all the subjects. You can find you can decode it where the questions are asked, where you have to focus more. This exam is not about reading everything under the sun. It is just about focusing on which area is being asked in the UPSC. So you have to only focus on that. So another mistake which candidates used to make is they read multiple sources. Please do not do that. If you see my source, everything is very simple. Many of the toppers also would have suggested that keep your sources very minimal so that you can revise it multiple times before going into the exam hall. You will have a sense of completion. Okay, I know everything from this book, from Polity. I know everything, whatever is asked from environment if I'm seeing PMFIAs or Shankar Academy. So you have to be thorough with the basic facts in any one book. If something else is asked, you imagine many people are appearing for this exam, it would not be easy for them also to answer that question. So basics you should not miss out with. And I'll tell you certain sources for forestry which will help you in answer writing. Down to Earth magazine is very important if you're explicitly preparing for the forest service. Also for civil service it will be important because there are lots of environmental issues which you can quote in GS3 paper also, GS4, even in GS2 sometimes. Down to Earth magazine is important. Yojana is a very good magazine because some of the schemes, if you're not able to study properly from any other materials, Yojana will give you a very clear idea. You can at least see the name and the mandate of that program. Economy, basically Yojana is good. Next is Kurukshetra, you can follow that for agriculture. Even for prelims, these three are very good. Down to Earth, Yojana and Kurukshetra, because something they are asking. So for example, if they ask about permaculture, before 2 to 3 years in prelims it was a question. Kurukshetra mentioned about permaculture. What are the positive benefits about permaculture? So please see that. And finally, about note making, we are mostly relying on people who are already made notes, but I would suggest you please make your own notes. Whatever you're writing with your hand, you will be in a good position to remember things. For students who are not able to have time, some people will be writing civil service also, so they'll have only 1 to 1.5 months for appearing for forest service. For them, I was also following Apur Dikshit sir's notes. So if possible, you can get his notes also from, there are telegram channels and even in the internet you can get. So please make use of those notes only when you have the paucity of time. Other time, please do not rely on somebody else's notes. First thing, you'll not be able to understand the handwriting and it will put you in a stressful situation when you're revising. Always have your own notes, and whenever you want to add some value addition, basically you should write it in any A4 sheet or sticky notes, have it with you. So these are the things about my preparation. And as I already told you, this is my last attempt in forest service. Always it was a graph which was going zigzag. I was able to go till interview, not clear 2 prelims. Again I was able to go till civil service interview, not clear 2 prelims. Here today I was able to clear all the 3 after, in my last attempt for forest service. So do not have any negative feeling about not clearing this exam. You should always find out what is your mistake in your next attempt. So that is why UPSC has given lots of attempts. This is something which is very competitive. So if you can find out that mistake, implement it in your next attempt. Now I will take upon questions whatever I have here. If you have any questions, please put it here. So one aspirant is asking about importance of English language vocabulary in UPSC exam. So English is not very important for civil service. You should at least know the basic way of communicating your thoughts to the other person. So in interview you obviously have an option, if you want to talk in Hindi also, regional language you can go with it, but always preparing well with English is good, because you have one compulsory paper in forest service with English. So you can start just speaking and seeing the basic vocabulary. When you're writing the answers, I think with practice it is not a big deal, you can easily get it. I am using a Telegram channel. I will try to share the link. Okay, about the spectrum book, there is a doubt. Do we have to study every pages? I'll tell you one thing. So chronology is something which is very important in history. You should know which event came before which event. Even in the question, civil service prelims question, or for forest service also, you will be finding you have to put the chronology. Or next kind of question is, in the 8th century, which of the following dynasties were present? They had given Hoysalas and I could remember Yadavas. So in this, only if you know the chronology you can write it. Similar way, in spectrum, you should know which event is coming before which event. So for that you have to, there is an index page, right? After every chapter there is an index page. Even if you're not reading it fully, once you first read all the things which is given in any chapter in spectrum, after that read the index page. I would not say index, the summary page. When you're having no time, if you're reading geography, that time what you can do is, instead of again second time reading the whole chapter, just see the summary page of the spectrum. It will help you in many fold. whenever you have allocated time for history alone, you go inside. So instead of going every page, see, that is why previous year questions are very important. When you know that some question about Gandhiji is asked every year, so that Gandhian phase is becoming very important. 1915 to 1947. You have to know why particular event is happening. Why is individual salt satyagraha is happening? So August offer, why is it happening? Which is coming first? These micro details, you just have to know it. You don't have to mug up everything. So keep on putting yourself, expose the book to yourself always, so that you will be in a good position to answer the question. Don't have that mindset that you have to mug up everything. It is not mugging up, rather it is understanding the basic things which is expected by UPSC. Any other questions if you have, you can ask. So interview experience I shared already. A difference between mock interview and UPSC interview. See, you are giving a mock interview to just see whether you are having the basic level of talking. When there are people inside service who are taking interview for you, are you able to communicate with them with for example, it should be a formal way of interaction. You should not talk very informally. Saying hi, hello should not happen. So whether you are able to do that, that is where you can go for mock interview, so that these traits will be easily corrected there. But again, mock interview is something which you should take with a pinch of salt. You don't have to take every comment. Some things you will know in your instinct that you have to change certain traits. So those things you can change using the mock interview. Also, the way of dressing and however you have to carry yourself to the main interview, the UPSC interview, you can test it in the mock interview. It will be a very good exercise. I would suggest everyone, especially the freshers who are appearing for the UPSC civil service or forest service, to attend a mock interview, so as to improve certain traits which you have to. And personality is something which cannot be built in one day. I'll say, if you want to become an officer, you have to already presume that there is that kind of quality inside you. That is why you're aspiring to become whatever service you wanted to take. So you should always keep on polishing that attitude of yours. So yeah, you can attend mock interview only for that. Then any other questions? Kindly please send it in English, because I'm not very good with Hindi. So how to analyze previous year questions? For prelims, how you will analyze is, take just 5-year questions, okay? There are many books in market. For example, Disha publication is there, and there is one more book. This book is something which I followed. Prelims Simplified, Shaurabh Kumar IFS sir's book. So that book is also like, it is similar to Disha publications only. You can follow any one book. For example, if in this book they had given history separately and geography separately, you don't have to only go with one source. Whichever you have at your end, no, even that book, I think it will be segregated. Whichever previous year question bank is having, segregated. Geography, if you have, no, they would have given you Indian geography. See just last 5 years question. Take world geography, see last 5 years question. So when you're seeing that, you will get a pattern. For example, I will say, always there is a question which is related with ocean current. Always, I'm telling 90% of the time. So you will have a question related with monsoon, or you will have a question related with the climatology, especially the El Nino effect. So when you're seeing the 5 years questions, you will know, okay, you have to concentrate more on climatology, especially when you're reading the 12th NCERT. Cyclone is very important area. So next time when you're reading NCERT, you will be reading which are the conditions for cyclone, for the formation of cyclone. That is how you should analyze. Similarly, you should do it for history, environment. See, and one more thing, when you're attending questions in the prelims, 50% plus performance depends upon your common sense. Please throw the thought that only after reading you will be able to clear prelims. It is not like that. Basic understanding, yes, you should have for all the subject, but other than that, it should be a common sense. Last year, I could remember one question related with in prelims. They had asked about. I couldn't remember. Okay, the squirrel. Is a squirrel omnivorous? There is no book in India which is speaking whether a squirrel is omnivorous or not. So you should naturally know that. If you're not very comfortable with that question, you may leave that question, go to the next one. So using your common sense, you should minimize your mistake. And prelims, you should always try to eliminate the wrong answers instead of finding the right answer. Also, please treat every question equally when you're solving the prelims paper. And the time gap, because it is whoever is giving mains now, they can start with mains preparation, but whoever is Jan or at least November, December will be a better period to start again for prelims preparation. Now you can fully focus on mains. Daily you can study the newspaper. You can also see a little of prelims like current affairs because monthly current affairs you should be having follow with. So other than that, now it is a time for you to mold yourself for the mains exam, because once you're complete with prelims, you will again sit for mains. You will have that continuity instead of seeing it for the first time. What other questions you have? So environment strategy. Environment, you just have to be good with the basics. It can be any book. So in this case, if you're going with PMF IAS, don't go very deep into everything. Always have your PYQ with you. First reading, you just read it normally. Don't try to mug up everything. Second or third reading, when you're seeing the PYQ and seeing the PMF IAS, you know, like there are certain topics which are asked like deeply. For example, wetland. How many Ramsar wetlands are there in India? What is the condition for a wetland? These questions are already being asked in UPSC past 4 to 5 years, which means when you're reading PMFIAs, give a little more importance for wetland instead of going and reading everything. PYQ, again and again I'm telling, it is a guiding light or guiding light for you throughout the journey of prelims and mains. Political science I'm not sure about, but Lakshmikant book is enough for the polity, which you are going to write for prelims and your mains. More than enough. You don't have to follow anything else for static polity. For dynamic polity subject like current affairs, you have to follow the newspaper. So how did you start your answer writing? Okay. See, answer writing is an art. You will never get easy answer writing in a day. You write whatever you feel. Don't feel shameful of writing answers, because we are all coming from engineering background or maybe economics. It's not easy for us to get gelled up with all the subjects when you're writing the answer. You throw the shyness of yours. Take previous year question. You have lots of, even in insights, you have that initiative, no? With synopsis, you can take that question, you can start writing the answer. Just write one page of that answer. After writing, you yourself check with the synopsis whether are you able to write it. In the first day of answer writing, I was not able to write anything properly. Back in 2015. But when I did not clear my first prelims, I did not clear my first prelims. I started answer writing a little bit. But next year, when I was writing my 2016, I did not clear my mains. So I was having that thought, I'm reading the newspaper, I'm reading everything, but I was not able to clear because of GS2. So I was preparing more for GS2. What I did was I started intensely clubbing the syllabus with the GS2 syllabus with the newspaper, and also take up a test series. It is very important for you. This exam is only about writing. Prelims may be a gateway for you to clear the exam, but mains answer writing is something you have to do it. Whoever is writing lots of answers, they'll be clearing the mains. That is a mantra for clearing mains. So first time it will be difficult. As you keep on reading the newspaper, as you keep on seeing the all materials, no, basically the polity material of PT 365, you will be exposed to something. So you can write that something in the paper. I'll tell you, for example, in GS2, it is good if you can write the judgments, if you can write the article, constitutional article, you will get, if somebody is getting 5 marks, you will get 5.5 or 6 marks. So try to imbibe those things in your polity. So similar way you have to do it for economy also, and same. Then for science and technology, again I've told you already, don't go very deep, just keep your preparation simple. You can see the basic any science book. For me, since I prepared from Shankar Academy, I saw their institute book only, and for the basic science, for the updated versions, you can see PT 365, wherein the science and technology, they've given it whatever is important at present, they would have given it clearly. Don't go deep inside science and technology like you're preparing for ISRO or NASA. Just basic science is enough. So full book list I have already told for prelims. And for mains, I did not rely on any book as such. As I told, for forestry, Hornbill notes, and my own notes for geology. But speaking about civil services, I was again relying more upon my newspaper notes for GS 2 and 3. For GS 4, that is ethics paper, you can rely on lexicon. That is one good simple source. Again, ethics, if you can take a class from Lukman Institute, which helped me in last year to get 110 marks in 2020 mains. So if you're able to write good answers in ethics with any live examples, you'll be getting good marks. Always try to include philosophical examples in your ethics answer writing, like whatever philosophy you're reading with Jainism or Buddhism, because you'll be having lots of life lessons from the ancient history or even Ashoka's period. You can even talk about Gandhiji's simplicity, ideology. Those things will help in ethics. Next is focus more on the case studies part in ethics. Did you follow any particular source? Silviculture of Indian trees. I followed only the hornbill material. I did not follow anything in specific. But there is L.S. Khanna, there is a book called L.S. Khanna. I would not suggest you to read it because you will not have time. See, again in answer writing, you should make it very simple. The person who's correcting your answer, they should know that you have covered the basic things. Underline whichever word is important. When you're writing about the silviculture technique, clear filling system, for example, if they are asking that, you have some words, equal area which you have to clear, those kind of words you have to use in the answer. Periodic block. So these are the keywords. Keywords is not something which is very difficult to understand. Once you read the concept, you will know which is the main theme of that question. That theme of that question should be highlighted in your answer, because the person who is correcting the paper will know, okay, you know something. That is how you have to take it forward. Next is how to stay motivated. You have to stay motivated not from any external advice. Rather, you should put yourself into the track. This is a very intensive process of preparation. You have to overcome the failures. Sometimes you might not be able to clear the prelims, sometimes not be able to clear the mains, and even the interview, which is the worst part of this exam. If you're not able to clear the interview, you should, in 2 or 3 days, you should be back in the form, because you want to clear this exam. That is not going to define your failure. For me, it took so many years to clear this exam. I was always having a hope, okay, I will clear it next time. But having said this, if you're having a plan B, after at least 2 to 3 attempts, I would say it is a best thing. Having a plan B, you should not leave preparing for UPSC. You can again appear for the exam, because it's difficult for everyone. I mean, it is not financially or mentally a stable process to keep on going with this exam. But at the same time, if you're very focused, there is no chance that you're not going to clear this exam. You have to be focused, you have to be strategical when you're preparing for prelims, how to clear this prelims by using PYQ. When you're preparing for mains, fully focus on answer writing. For me, this is my 9th attempt, so this is my last attempt. So yeah, you have to focus on answer writing. In interview also, you should you have to be very honest. That is one important trait for any civil servant, which they are seeing whether you're having it. Any other questions? Significance of notes making. Yes, for forestry and geology, I already told. You have to definitely make your own notes, which is going to help you a lot in the revision. I had told about that. I will share my Telegram channel link. Then, yeah, I think that's all. Is there any other question? Okay, so that's all about my preparation and the strategy. So all the very best for everyone. Thank you.